Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Here I've got an Australian pink opal from WA. Here, any long time subscribers of the channel would have seen this. This was my first attempt at wire wrapping an opal. So it's the saddest attempt you've ever seen. This is copying a design done by the great Von from YouTube, Yvonne Williams. She's in different leagues to me, and this was apparently what I thought was a good idea to try as the first wire wrap. You can see here the thick wire, so it's 1, 2, 3, I think it's about 4 different wires. The thick two, they are like fencing wire. These are the types of wires we use to keep camels in pens. It was incredibly hard to bend. The fact that I even got it looking almost this good is amazing. You can see I just tied it off. I had no idea what to do at the end. My design wouldn't incorporate her system because the stone was just way too small. That's a nice white Cooper Pedy with a bit of a multicolour flash. Nice opal. Terrible wrap. It did not deserve this treatment. But today we are going to revisit it, hoping that I've gained some sort of skill and knowledge. I want to test that and see whether I can do a better job than what I did this first time. So it'll be a bit of a how-to guide, but it'll also be a measure of whether I've actually gotten any better at all. So all that's involved, 2 thicker wires. So these wires are this one here, para wire. This was sent by Von after seeing this video and feeling real sorry for me. So it's a 16 gauge, 15 feet copper. I've cut that down to 1 foot lengths. It's 12 inches, 2 lots of 12 inches, just here. And this is a wire that a subscriber sent through. It's just a really, I don't actually know what it is. It's really thin and black. I'm guessing in terms of gauge size, it's, I don't know, like 26 gauge or something like that. Just really, really fine. And I have pre-cut about 12 feet of this. 2 arm spans for me, basically. So, yeah. Got that. And yeah, got a couple other bits and pieces here. Little ring mandrel clippers, which I've already used, but we'll need them again at the end to cut off any excess. And then just some assorted pliers. I got these flat ones to just kind of crimp everything into place. And these little round nose, which I didn't have any of these tools at the time of doing the first attempt. So this was all bent by my fingers basically, and a pocket knife, because things like this, I think I used some needle nose pliers. This was just, it was really hard to bend. So we're gonna reattempt it, and we're gonna hope to do it a lot better. So let's get started. Alright, so let's dive in. This stone, it's probably useful to get a bit of a measurement in case anyone wants to try to copy this design. It's about 30 millimeters wide, and that is a bit over an inch, 1.1 inches. And width-wise, and it's also a teardrop, but width-wise it is 0.6 of an inch, or 16 and a half mil. So that'll give you a bit of an idea in case you ever want to try to copy this yourself. But let's have a zoom in. So the basic plan is 2 thick wires. We want to bend them around this way for that starting of the bottom V, about the middle of the wire. And then we're going to use this small thin wire to basically wrap evenly on both sides. Between the wraps, I want to have 2 that go around both to tie them together. And then I'm just going to have 5 little ones in between, 2, 5, 2, and so on until we get to the top. So I think it's a bit bigger than this design, so it'll be about 10 sets of that all the way up. So we'll get it going. I'll skip through a lot of this part, and I'll just get it started and show you how it goes, and jump ahead to when I'm ready to start bending these wires into shape. So let's do it. 2 big wires, we'll straighten them out a little bit just by squeezing hard and pulling them through. This typically works pretty well for me these days. And then zoom out a little bit, just grabbing both ends, kind of just gauging where it is and then doing a bit of a sharper tweak here. I could use pliers for this, but I'm doing it by force with my fingers just because it is such soft wire. So I can even get a pretty sharp point. I don't want it too sharp because I want it to kind of complement the shape of this stone a little bit. So minus that weird little kink there, I think that's about what I want. Yeah, maybe a little bit wider and more rounded. There we go. So I want it to kind of go around like that. And then do the same to the other one. Spin that around the point of my finger like I did the first. And then we can kind of cheat because we've already got one done. We want the outer one a little bit wider, but we still want it the same shape basically. And there we go, something like that. So we'll take both of these, make sure they kind of follow the same path. Straighten them out a bit like that. And then we are going to start the wire weaving. So off camera, I'm just getting the 12-foot length wire, the thin wire, and just finding the center point of it without trying to kink it. And there we go. So I've just folded it there. That's the center. And we're going to start with the inside. Put the center right in the middle of that lowest divot, and then just going up and over. And we'll do this, I don't know, 5 times or so. So nice and tight. Every now and then, actually pretty much after every single one, I'm just gonna push it right down against the other one. I'll use pliers to tighten it up after the 5 are done. So there we go, there's 3, pinch them together. 4. We've just got to count to make sure we get it even, otherwise we're going to get lopsided right from the start and that's not good. 5. There you go, so that's 5. Now we want to just go to the other side and do the exact same thing. 5 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 on each side. We are flying. Now this is where we bring in the second wire. The outer wire just goes on the outside just like this. And then we're going to do 2 around on both sides, and then back to just doing the middle wire 5 times again. So I'll show you this once and then I'll continue on and do the rest off camera until we've got it ready to go for the bending part. So just around there once, around both of them again. Boom. 2 times. So switch hands around both wires. And I find it easy if you wrap it around and instead of relying on squishing it, just make sure you get them as close together as possible. Right from like this stage, just line it up with your finger and just guide it alongside. So if we zoom in again, 5, 5, 2, 2, and then we're just going to go back to the inside wire and do another one of these 5 and then 2 around the outside, and I'll just skip over that and come back on camera when I've got that done enough times to have the thing just about done. So I'll be back in a sec. And I am back. So that was the boring and easy part. So we started here, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5 on the inside, 2 on the outside, 5 on the inside, 2 on the outside. And I've done that all the way up to here. It's about 15, I think. 15 sets of 2. That's how I counted on both sides, just to make sure I've got the same. So I've gone 15 sets on both sides, and then I've ended with just 5 loops here. Now, we get to some tricky parts. So if we zoom back out again, what I've got to do is put the shoulders in here. So if we refer to this one here, it's this edge. Now, this case, the stone was way too small. This time, we're much bigger. We want to just neatly bend that fairly consistently on both sides. So to do that, I'm going to use this ring mandrel. Now it's plastic, so I don't want it to snap. And I'll just try it on the largest. So I'm just going to grab both of these. And I think we'll just have this sitting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. I count that just because I want to be consistent. Bend it across. We'll do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Make sure that's on the point of the round. Bend that across. We don't really want it looping over like that, so you can see there we have not bent it anywhere near enough. And we basically want to bend it until these 2 points here actually meet. So where the black finishes, we want those two to touch, and we want it to kind of hug around this thing here. So I can see that this one here actually has a bit more of a bend than that one. So I don't know what went on there. Maybe I didn't keep this locked in place enough. But we're going to need to go up to maybe up to here probably. So we'll try it from here. Bend that one a bit. Bend this one a bit. And you know what? I reckon it's close enough for me to be able to just manipulate it by hand. So this piece is going to sit here. I want these bent down a little bit more. We'll just eyeball it, wrestle it into place, and that looks kind of cool. I'll bring it closer to the camera. There you go. So you can see there that the two black ends are almost meeting. There, if I push it there, that'll meet, and then that'll be the shape of our pendant. So stone sitting in the middle of that. Beautiful. Now it gets complex. So we've got these 4 strands. So this is the outer wire, inner wire, outer wire, inner wire. Basically, I just want to put a nice smooth bend up here like that. Bend both of these basically out of the way. So it's like that. And I want this inner wire from this side here, so that continues on over there. Currently we've still got it set so that they can pull apart. We want this to go on the other side here. So now they're locked. They're interlocked now. And I can't wobble them apart. So from here, we want to push them together. We want these still out of the way, but pointing kind of up. So these will become the bail, I think. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I think all of this becomes the bail. But if we look at this previous one here, you can see that these two that get bent upwards, well, actually it's these outer ones that get bent upwards, are basically supporting the outside of the bail. So they turn into this thing here. Whereas the other two down here are going to crisscross each other a few times and make that decorative bail, which hopefully will look better this time. So there we are, just like that. They seem to be meeting up quite well. If we look from above, quite good. Now I need to use the wire from one of them, so we'll pick this one first. So this is this little wire here. And what we want to do is we want to meet them up, and we're going to get this wire to loop around the other one, but we want to start continuing this weave back on this line here. So just where it came from, we're just going to meet up and carry on basically. So straight up over the top. We'll let it do one full loop around without getting our wire kinked. There's a lot of wire still left. I don't know if I'm actually going to use all of this. There's still a lot left. Make sure I found the right one again. Yep, there he is. And then all the way up. Land it beside it again. Squish it together a little bit more. And then this is just going to continue on and just wire wrap this same one that it came from. I can keep it in focus. So this one is now just going to go right back to where we left off. Squidge it all in nice and tight. right where we left off, where we were doing the 5 and 2. So we're just going to do 10, I think, this way. I think we need to do it fairly long because the first loop here is quite large. So we're going to go and do 10 of those on that side, then we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. And then I'll be back after that. So 10, 10, we'll come back. Holy cow, it's actually looking good so far. So I've just done those additional 10 or so loops and it's now locked in together. And we need to work on the bail. So this is the actual pendant part done, all of this part. Now we need to work on this bail, and the bail, I've got to say, was the hardest part from memory. Oh, apart from this stupid mess that I made here. This bail was really tough, but this wire was also incredibly tough. It was like bending the hull of a ship. So we won't have that problem this time. So 10 after the combination knot, and you'll notice that you try to make this seamless. So when you're looping them over, you can see that there's very little gaps. When I did the loop over, I filled in the gaps. So that's pretty important, otherwise you'll have a weird looking mess here. I reckon this one, yeah, if I switch over to this one, look at this. See that massive gap there? Ugly. Ugly gaps. We don't want that, and we've managed to avoid it this time. We've actually made, we'll have a better look later. We've made it pretty well so far. So now we're working on the bail, so 10 to here, and what we want to do is we basically just want to give this one a nice bend. So we're bending it up, trying to keep my fingers out of the way, we're bending it up to there. So you can see that we've just cleared this part here, which will be the outer edge of the bail. And we'll want to bring this, and just like we did back here where we did 5 and then 2, we've basically done 10. And now we're going to do 2 around here and then another 10. So I'll just do one example on this side. So there we go, there's 1. 2. There you go, better focus. 1, 2, and then we want to do 10 back on this little inner coil. And then we just want to do the same thing on this side. And then we're just going to do the same thing here where we join them up like this. And then we're going to do the next one. Alright, and here we are. So, done all that. Just gone up here, 10, 2 around both wires, finished with 10. And then up here, I think it was 15. And then I did 4 wires. So if I go in a little bit closer. So, 10, 2, 10, 15, 4, 15. 10 to 10, and then I've just finished it off with another 10 here. And this is when it starts getting a little bit complicated again. So switch my mind off for all of this, switching it back on now. So we have to decide which one's going to be the front and which one's going to be the back side. So I've just picked this as the front. They're both very similar. I've actually done a pretty good job on it, so they both look pretty clean and crisp, but I just picked this one because this other side has a little bit of a scuff there. Turns out this black stuff is like a painted copper, and you can see the copper wire coming through there from a scrape that I accidentally did. So we've got our 3 little things over here. Because this is the front, what we're going to do with this one here is we're going to start snipping it off. So I need this little black wire to be gone. We'll just swing it around so that it's pointing out the back, and then nice and close, we'll just snip it off there. So there it is, there's the end of it. We kind of want to, without scraping off that black coating, we'll just try to, there we go, just crimp it down. All good. So there's that. Now this we also want to terminate at this point. There's not much left, so I actually judged that pretty well. So we'll just cut it off a little bit. We want to leave enough for me to do a little bit of a coil and bring it back in. So I don't know, we'll just roughly guess somewhere about here. So we've left that much there. There you go. And then I'm going to use these little round nose pliers, or double rounds. Just pinch towards the end of it and literally just crank it as tight as we can all the way around until it's just meeting up with the black there. So that's that. Looks alright. Now we need to finish off with this other side. So what I'm going to do is flip it over, and here we want to do the same thing but in reverse. And we also want to link all our thick wires. So we're going to have this one here, 1, 2, and 3. So we'll do the same as we did earlier. So just bend it up and away. So now those two are meeting. And we're going to get this little wire, and we are going to thread it through that little eyelet. So it's coming in from the back. It's going to go through that little eyelet, then around all three, and we'll do that twice, I reckon. And that should hold our entire wire wrap together. So like threading a needle, straight in. And I find that pushing the wire through a spot like this is a lot better than pulling it. If you pull it, you tend to get a kink, and kinks are really annoying. I mean, if this wire broke at this point, I don't have the skills to even know how to fix it. So we're going to avoid that at all costs. Alright, so we're going to go all the way around. We'll try to get these to... We'll try to get the two curly ones to line up a little bit. And then we just need to bring this one here in. There we go. Closer to the other two. And then we'll just tighten it up around there, and then, just like before, thread the needle. Back through. There's still quite a lot of line here, and then pull it all the way through, nice and tight. And there you go, we've got two wraps around there. Not too bad. And then we're just going to take this and we'll just wind it around. I reckon we might do a bit of a change up here. I think what I want to do is just wrap it around this one and this one a few times. Maybe I might switch it so that this is the front. Because what I'm thinking is, to cover this, I'm just going to wrap around here. I should have paid more attention to Von's tutorial. So I'm going to wrap it around here a few more times. I'm not really counting or anything. We'll just keep going. Because both sides are okay, and I'm just going to make an audible now. Audible call and say we're going to switch it up. I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not, but we'll soon find out. So I'm just going to do a couple winds around this initial line again. See, so we've covered this cord a little bit, and we're actually going to make that the front. And all I want to do is just bring this wire down to cover the one behind it. See, so it's kind of lining up with the loop behind it. And then from here, basically just bringing those two together, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to wind this around this, well, around all three basically. All three of these we're going to wrap around. So we've got to just loop it around here so that it starts wrapping around all of them. And then the end, once again, through the eye. This time it's got two eyelets. So just got to make sure to get it through both circles. Still quite a lot of wire, so I'm not stressed about that yet. Doesn't look like we're going to run out on this project. So round we go, all the way through. Keep it symmetrical by doing it a second time. There we go. So all the way through on both sides. I probably could have done more winds up here, but that's okay. This will be right at the back and bottom over here, so you're not going to see it very much. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to grab these rounds again. Grab it here and just twist it even sharper around. Maybe just do it like this a little bit. And I want to just clip it off somewhere about here, I reckon. So if I just grab these, boom, clip it off there. Twist it in even more. Maybe just push it back in. I'm pretty sure Von does this with some flat pliers, so just flatten it in there. And there you go. I mean, both sides look very similar. I still don't know which one I like more. I think I like this side just because it's a little bit more covered up the top here with the black. So it's that versus that. I mean, both are very similar. And both look far better than what I had from memory last time. So we'll just have that there. And yeah, I could cover this a little bit more with all of this winding, but I can't really be bothered. All I'm going to do is feed it through, just through this random section here. Now it's chilling over this side and we're going to clip it. Nice and flush so that the end basically just disappears. Just one last check. Yep, I like this side better. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my finger. This is much softer than last time. I reckon I tried doing this last time with my finger and I almost broke it in half. So we're just going to spin it around. And you see these two little bits behind? So this top bit. Those we're going to aim to shoot through the heart of this thing. So I've just threaded them through. There's the bezel forming. We want this to be touching over here. So we're just going to give it a little bit more of a shove. Now I don't like the idea of it being so flat here. So I want to just kind of twist it forward so that the bezel's more central. If that makes sense. There you go. So now it goes kind of forwards and then up and around rather than just straight up and then a loop like a D shape. So there we go. And then we're going to take each of these arms, thread it through, right up over here. So there you go. We're just going around. And I think I want to do a bit of a double loop like that. Have a quick look. So it's gone around, through, up and over, up and over. I'll do the same thing on this side. So straight up and over. Dodge the other wire. Up. And right alongside it. Up and over. Beautiful. Now, we've got enough. We've had enough of these. Get rid of them. Bam. Bam. Didn't catch any of them with my eyes, which is good. Wasn't wearing glasses, silly boy. And just using some really flat pliers. There we go. There you go. So we've got the nice little wire wrap all the way around here. We've got the bail all put together. We've secured it here. Beautiful black and copper coloured pendant. So now I need to refresh my memory and work out how I'm going to set this pink Aussie opal right there. So that's the dream. Let's do that now. Well, my recording is not playing nicely with me, but you didn't miss much. So I just cut off another section of this thinner wire. So it's about 3 foot long. And all I've done is I've threaded it through here. If we zoom right in, you'll be able to see this easily anyway. So that front line just there, you can see that it's just looped over and then coming down to the front. So I've looped it through, twisted them together once here, and then we've basically just made like a little bit of a web. So it's just going to be the backing for the stone. And all it's done is gone around here, wrapped around, gone down, wrapped around, and this is where we're at now. Done that on both sides. Now this would be a good time to actually place the stone here. And that is right where it's going to sit. Very crooked. Very crooked. There we go. So it's going to sit there just like that. If I bring it back a bit, there you go. So all we're going to do now is bring these wires up to here, and we're basically going to do a mirror image of this here. So we're going to go up over the stone over here, through the back, up through the top, maybe up to the shoulder over here somewhere, maybe just there, and wrap around and then do that twice. Do that twice on both sides. You'll see what I mean. So we'll start with this one. This might be easier without the stone there for now. We're just going to go through that top section, that top quadrant. Oh my god, what's happening? I won't put it in through too much. We'll do the same with this second one. So through here, with my index fingers pointing through. We just really don't want any kinks here, so make sure you keep your wire free from the kink. The dreaded kink. So we'll pop the stone back down here, and we'll just tighten it across over this way, tighten it across over this way, and you can see that it's now trapped by this, it's now snagged here on the one behind. So we'll just follow this kind of loop and just go in through this little section here and then shoot back upwards. So the end of the wire, straight through, boom. Pulling, 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 being mindful of the kinks. There you go. And now we're going to go up over here somewhere, but we'll do that in a sec. We need to finish off this other side first. There you go. It's now snagged on the one behind. Before we tighten it, make sure our opal is sitting in place. Now, the opal seems a little bit shallow, so I think I'm going to crisscross them. So we'll crisscross them pretty shallow actually. We'll go... Oh, that's too far. That'll let the stone escape through the top. I reckon here. So it's basically just from the shoulder, counting 1, 2. We just want to make sure it's symmetrical on both sides. So we'll go through there. Poke the wire in through the... just under that wire. Don't worry, if you can't see what's going on, Von has a 1 hour... over 1 hour, I think, tutorial explaining this fully in depth. But me, I'm trying my best. So we've got it like this, and I'll just put it through this top little section here just to tie it off, basically, just there. Well, not fully tie it off, but you know what I mean, just lock it in place. Give it a snug little pull. It's actually pulled too tight, and now we've slipped the stone through the backing. Panic stations, not quite. Alright, so that's it like that. Got to do the same thing over here, so what did we choose? We chose about 1, 2. I think 1, 2 was probably not enough. We should have gone down to 3. It's not too late to change it, I don't think. There we go. And then we're basically just going to go over it again. So, up and over, following the same path as we did, but this time in reverse. And then here, to finish it off, we're basically just going to wire wrap around here a couple times, just looping it through and through. I've got way too much line here, so I'm just going to clip that just there, just because then I can easily manipulate this tiny end, which is much better than a foot. And we're just going to loop and loop and stop there basically. So there's a little bit of a offcut just sticking out the back. We'll clip that off, don't you worry. But first, we've got to get this other part done. So, same thing again. We're just going to follow this over, under, over. And then we've just got the two ends sticking out the back, so flush cutters, I believe they call them. Bam, bam, we're done. Comparison time. So in terms of the shape and size, I've matched the frame much better with the stone this time, but it is still a little bit big, I reckon. In terms of the actual quality of the pendant and bail, I've done like 1,000 times better. With better equipment, it's so much easier. See, like this one, I had it staggered so that one went ahead of the other one. This one, they're just beautifully flush and together. Now this actual wrapping of the stone into the piece is still not great. I reckon if I did this again with a thicker wire, I'd be a lot better off. And not this coated stuff. This coated stuff is actually a bit weird to do this with. So I'm not a huge fan of the coated stuff, even though it looks really cool at this part. For this interior part, I don't really like it. It gets very wrinkly and it feels strange. I can't really explain it. I'm sure wire wrappers know what I'm talking about. The coating is really annoying to me. Just the feel of it. I mean, this one I just wrapped until it held a stone and then clipped off the end. Didn't even clip it off well. I could have done that a bit better. Whereas this one I actually finished it off and the ends are basically just part of the design. That one I could wrap a little bit more. Just noticing things as I'm going along. There we go. Pinch that pointy bit down. So yeah, way better. That's good. A nice little test for myself to see how the skills are progressing. And it's nice to know that they are getting somewhere. And this probably took me far less time than this one did. This one I think took me over a day. Well over a day. This one took me, I don't know, 2 hours? Something like that. There's a lot of winding to do. It's rough. But that's it. That's done. I'm quite happy. I might redo this center part and see how it goes later on when I'm a bit bored. But I think that's pretty good. All of the wrap is so much better than last time. And I reckon if I had another run at this, it would look even better. So, yeah, quite happy. Whew, oh well. Back to doing what I do best, and that is carving a piece of opal. So, I'll see you in the next video.